Crouse.
Well, I think it's interesting how you can be very biographical in songs, and people go, "Oh, it's just a song." Mm-hmm. It's just, it's a 4-minute pop song.
You can hide a lot in songs, but you can't in a autobiography.
Yeah. Did spending 30 years, how long has it been? 40 years writing songs. Did that prepare you in a lot of ways to deal with the writing of this book?
No, not really, because it's a different discipline writing songs, because you've got the whole rhyming structure, which creates ideas that wouldn't normally come up. You're looking for a rhyming word, and suddenly this whole line comes into your head that you wouldn't have thought of if you were just writing prose.
Right, because you have because of the word choice that you have to make.
Discipline, the tight discipline of a rhyming structure, and the melody is only certain syllables, creates a whole different thing. Than just write. This almost feels like free-form writing to me. So I actually felt freer.
Yeah. Often these books, the way that they're structured, and I know we've sort of moved past that, but often I have found that the sex, drugs, and rock and roll stuff happens early on in the career, and then there's a chapter head. There's the crash and burn moment, and then you move beyond that. In this book, there seem to be epiphanies all the way through. Things happen. There are high points. There are low points. Low points followed by very high points. But I was really taken by the end of the book, because normally in these kind of books, by the time you reach the end, people are born again Christians, or they're in rehab, or they're what, and that's when my eyes start to glaze over, and you skip through it a little faster. And in this book, I have to tell you the chapter about Sahara, even though we meet her just briefly. Mm-hmm. A chapter or two before that. The chapter about Sahara made me tear up as I was reading it. And the story of your son falling out the screen door, and the story of the woman in Vegas. I thought, this is the end of one of these books that just never happens in this kind of autobiography. Tell me a little bit about, do you think, and I guess the question is, your life seems as dramatic now as it was when you were struggling to be known, and then maybe in some of the sort of down periods. Do you feel that way, or is it just my take from reading?
No, I do feel my life is I never feel at peace. I never feel like I've reached a pinnacle of, I've beaten the demons. First of all, the depression will be, like I say, will be with me for the rest of my life.
Right. The darkness.
The darkness, right. And I'm very passionate, I'm very driven, and still very hungry I'm as hungry as I was when I was, before I made it. Which is why I'm writing, this prose. I want to get into a whole other area now. And I love all that. I love to tour. I'm passionate about touring because that's my connection with people. And I think a lot of it is because I wrote this and didn't talk it into a tape recorder and then have a writer write it, that I know, and as I go along, and I think I have a certain understanding of the way a story should flow. I've read all my life, read all my life, and so I know which points to hit on and which to kind of just write a couple of sentences about. And when we first started, I did have a ghostwriter when we did the preparation to sell the book, and I told her the story, and she wrote up a chapter, and I looked at it and I went, this could be anybody's life. It started out with the bar was, wasn't even half full as I got up and picked up my guitar to play, in this restaurant. And I'm going, this is not me. Yeah. This could be anybody. So that, and I think that happens with a lot of autobiographies. And
But see, but it's the honesty, I think, in this one. If you talk about, let's just take that scene for a second. I think it was in Glendale. You're playing in a restaurant, right. And there's the bit in the book where a woman comes to you and says, "Hey, you're Rick Springfield," and you're like, "Yeah, I am," and she's like, "Didn't you used to be somebody?" or whatever the line was.
Right.
And again, that's and the way you write about that struck me as so true. Someone who had sort of just tasted it a little bit at that point, and then you never hear about what happens on the other side of that when you have to deal with the people that look at you funny because you're taking public transportation and you're not driving a Bentley.
And there's a line in there where I say, what am I supposed to do? Go bag groceries at Ralph's and say, "Hey, honey, isn't that Rick Springfield bagging our melons?"
Yeah.
And so there is, and I have a couple of friends who've gone through a certain amount of fame, and
what's the guy who's the name is escaping me now, who had the Bentley or the Rolls Royce or something and had to give it back?
From Player, Peter.
Yeah.
But him, not him so much. It's more actors because they have so much. People recognize them because that's how they, I have an actor friend who got frustrated at one point. He wasn't working, but he was well enough known to be. People would occasionally turn in the street and go, "Hey, that's."
So you can't get a regular job.
So what do I do? What am I supposed to do now? Go bag groceries? Am I, where do I go from here? And there is that moment, I think, not in everyone's life, because a lot of people hit it and then go, and but certainly there was in mine with the whole '70s thing where I had one hit. I was in a slew of magazines, and I think I was the first Paris Hilton where kids would come up to me because I was in all these magazines and ask for my autograph, but not really have a real clear idea of what I did.
Right.
They didn't know if maybe I was an actor, maybe was I a singer,
right.
Was I on some TV show they hadn't seen,
I just recognize his face.
You're Rick Springfield. And again, the letter from the kid saying, "Can't wait to come to Hollywood and see your mansion," and I was raiding my goofy piggy bank for Hungry Man dinners. It's kind of, that can be really freaking soul destroying, unless, I had a vision and I knew that something would happen eventually, and I think it was my drive and persistence that helped me not to give up.
Yeah, I think it's all about patience. I think it's all about sticking it out, and the people that stick it out, knock wood, they're the ones that make it. Everyone gives up too early.
There's a lot of more talented people than I am who stopped and are stay by the roadside.
Richard Crouse.